Hi there, it's Lisa Oliver, author here, and today I want to talk about self-publishing, because if there's one thing that really annoys me, it's the number of articles and that I see written by authors who claim how expensive self-publishing your own work can be. First up, you've finished your book. Let's do a little happy dance, because hey, you have done what so many people dream of doing, and they never actually get it done. So you've finished. You've typed the end. You may have shown it to a few friends even, and they're saying, yes, you need to publish it. And because you know that there is more money to be made in self-publishing for most authors, please, I know if you've got examples of the authors that broke those rules, put them in the box below. But for the most cases, if you want to make some money out of your book, then it's up to you to self-publish and market it yourself. The marketing we'll talk about on another day. But for today, let's talk about how you can get your book up for cheap, or in some cases free. The first thing, the absolutely most important thing you have to do with your new work is get it edited. That is vital. If you go back and have a look at my books on Amazon, the first book I had published was the first romance book that I put out was in February 2014. It was entitled The Reluctant Wolf, and an editor had not seen it. Boy, does it show. And if you have a look at the reviews, you'll see that my readers noticed it too. Book 2, much the same. By book 3, I realised I needed an editor. I should have done it. I can't even say now what a difference that might have made to my career as an author, but I can tell you, I read those books back now and I wince. I'm just like, oh, shit, no. There was a lot of things I did wrong in there. Apparently I have a quirky turn of phrase, and my ideas about point of view and keeping that straight in the book were completely wrong. And that was something that any editor would have picked up really quickly. So you need to get an editor. Editors are expensive. It's not surprising. They are very good at their craft. And so what you need to think about is to look at, when you haven't got money at this point to pay for a regular editor, get in touch with authors. Now, if you've been following any of my videos, or if you've been talking to any authors at all, you would know that the best way to learn about how to become a self-published author is to talk to other self-published authors. And while most of us are actually usually really busy, if you find yourself a friendly one like me, and I would have said to you, oh, have you joined in author, or have you joined in author groups? Have you joined in groups pertaining to your genre? See, all that sort of stuff is stuff you should be doing while you're writing your book, because that's going to be a huge help for you when you come to market, which is when you've got your sales page. But for now, you want to be talking to your author friends that you've already made, and if you haven't, skip off and make some now, about the editors that they use. What I did when I first started is I found a couple of author friends, and what we did is we all edited for each other. So there was 3 of us. So it meant that each book got 2 fresh sets of eyes on it, which made a huge difference with the editing. And then once my book started getting a little bit more popular, I actually had readers write to me and let me know what my mistakes were, and then offer their services for editing, in some cases just for the pleasure of reading the books, and in other cases, they wanted a small fee. But even now, 8 years later, I pay very little for my editing, but I use people who are amazing, and I always have at least 2, sometimes 3 editors for each book that I have. If you get yourself, you can spend like well over $1,000 or more to get a book professionally edited. And if you can afford that, that is really good. But be very wary of situations like that, not because they're not very good, because those people are, they've studied, and that sort of thing. But you want to know that the editor you're choosing likes your style, likes the genre of your book, because otherwise you're going to find the edits that you get back are not going to match the conversational tone, for example, that you might have been using, or the style that you were using in your book. And I have heard a few horror stories with that. Honestly, your most effective way of finding editors for your book is to be talking to other authors in your genre, find out who they recommend, and or whether or not you can do reciprocal services with somebody else so it's not costing you anything at all. So you've got the book while the book is being edited, because remember, you're doing all this work. The next thing you need to be thinking about is your cover. And again, I have seen horror stories, people saying, oh, it's going to cost you $500 for this cover, $500 or more for that cover. Yeah, if you're using photographer models for them. I have some of my favorite covers in my mini series. The one that comes to hand when I'm thinking about it was Tell Me the Truth, which is book 5 in my Stockton Wolf series. And the cover on that model he's a dreamboat. I love him. I think he's amazing. And I paid $350 American for the right to use that man on my cover. And I don't regret spending a cent of it. But that was like 2-3 years into my career, and probably about 20-30 books into my career before I started doing that. You can make your own cover. If you've got any graphic skills at all, you can make your own cover using a Photoshop. There's Freebie programs that are like Photoshop on the net. Just Google it. And places like Pixabay will have pictures, backgrounds, models, whatever, that you can use for free. Just make sure you check the licensing of any pictures that you're using, because, don't just go on Google and think you can use pictures on there. You don't want anybody stealing the copyright of your work, and you don't want to be stealing anybody's copyright for their pictures because you've just thought it looked really nice on Google. Do your homework, get it done through, using a site where you know that the pictures have been checked for the rights and the rights that you have to use them. If you have the design skills of a gnat, that's fine. That quite often happens with writers. Do a search for pre-made covers in your genre. You'd be amazed at how many people how many artists set up pre-made covers, and they can be as cheap as $25 for things like that. Your other alternative is to go to Fiverr. That's with 2 R's, Fiverr. You go on Fiverr and you type in book covers. You'll find people there willing to do you a cover for, as you've guessed, anything from $5 to $20, and you'll have yourself a cover. So it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. What's the next thing? You've written your blurb, I suppose, the description, the bit that goes on the back of the book. Even when you've got a Kindle book, you need that blurb or description. When you're getting your editing done, get somebody to cast an eye over that as well, because your blurb will be on your sales page on Amazon or wherever it is that you're going to sell it. But please, Amazon makes sense. But so make sure that that's edited as well, because that makes a really bad impression if you've got editing mistakes in your blurb. So you'll write that yourself. What else is needed to put a book up on Amazon? You got to put your front matter in. Now, we've got front matter, back matter, and table of contents. These are the things that I write down for every title that I do. Front matter is the information that goes between the title page and chapter 1. And it's the information that talks about the copyright, your copyright, and the penalties for abusing that copyright that might pertain to your city, state, country, whatever. If you're not sure what I mean, just go and pick up any book off of your shelf, turn to the page just past the title page, and you'll see what I mean. You want something that indicates your rights to your work, the dates that what rights to that work started, and it's never a bad idea to put in the penalties for breaching that copyright. It helps give the book a professional look, and it does, even though it's not going to stop pirates and things like that, it shows that you've cared enough to put it in. Now, your table of contents, please tell me you know how to use Word. Well, if you're using Word, it is very simple to create a table of contents. You simply do your chapter headings as headings, your chapter headings as headings, format them as headings, and lovely Word will create a table of contents all by itself. If you're not sure how to do that, there's plenty of videos on YouTube about how to format things like that. Back matter is about the author. It always pays to have a paragraph or two about who you are, what it is you want your readers to know about you, and how they can get in touch with you. Have you got a newsletter where they can sign up for a newsletter? Put that link in there. Have you got yourself a blog, social media pages? That is what you need to put in your About the Author section. In fact, mine I think is about a page long, because although it's only about a paragraph or two, about, Lisa Oliver lives in the wilds of New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. But then with all the links underneath, there's links to my Amazon Central page, then there's links to my Facebook page, then there's links to my Facebook group. I have Twitter, I have MeWe, I have Instagram, now I have YouTube, I have TikTok, I have an Etsy store, and I provide my email address. So it can never be said, and my blog, let's not forget my blog. So never let it be said, I don't let people know how to get in touch with me. So you need to do that. That goes in your back matter. Then if you've written any other books at all, you list them in the back as well as under that title, other books by author name. And that's your back matter done. Now, just before you upload it to KDP, you want to know formatting. When I first started writing, I didn't know what formatting is. And to be honest, it's, Amazon makes it really easy. If you're going to put your book up as a Kindle book on KDP, then you can just upload your Word document, provided you've got standard margins, standard page sizes. Amazon will take care of it and convert it into a Mobi file for you. But recently, I think some of the, my long-term listeners or long-term people will know that I'm doing a collaboration series with JP Sale at the moment. And she formats her books in like that she, because we were writing a book with a Kraken shifter in it. So, of course, it had tentacles. And she wanted tentacles coming across the front part of the page. And she wanted tentacles around the chapter numbers. And then because my character was a bear shifter, so I would have quite liked a bear, once I got into it and thought, actually, this could be cool. So admittedly, we did pay about, I think it was $100 and something American dollars to get that done. And I've got to admit, it does look really cool, but it really only applies for the paperback version. And you don't need it. The thing that's going to carry your story, the thing that's going to cause people to start talking about your story is not because you got tentacles or feathers or something around the chapter numbers in your book. It's going to be because of the content of your book, the storyline, your characters, or whatever else. So don't worry about formatting. Just make sure that you've got chapter headings. The only thing you have to remember is to make sure you've got chapter headings so you can clearly show where each new chapter starts, and make sure you put a page break between the end of the last chapter and the beginning of the next, because that does help as well. And aside from that, all you need to do then is upload it to your Amazon account at kdp.amazon.com or .co.uk, .com.au, Amazon, your Amazon account. It's free, it's simple, and Amazon will accept, it's the form to upload it through is very easy, very straightforward. You fill in your details, you upload your files, You'll get a thing at the end of it. It says submit, you work out your pricing and everything else, and then it says it will take up to 72 hours for your book to show up on our sales page. And then you sit there and start waiting for your email to tell you that it's live. And while you're sitting there and waiting, start thinking about your promotion. Because, next week we'll talk about how to start promoting your book for free. But in the meantime, my lovely peoples, I have kept you long enough. I do have that new book out, Alexi, with JP Sale, if you want to go and have a look for that on Amazon. And I've got I've got another book up on pre-order. That one's Hellhounds and, what's that? Hellhounds and Majors, I think it was, called Better Than Sweets. That's currently up on pre-order on Amazon. So, Google me, Amazon me. That would be really cool. Anyway, my friends, don't let talk of high costs for publishing and everything else get you down. It is simple. It does require work, but it can be done for free. You've just got to apply a few tips and tricks to get it done effectively. Any questions at all, please put them in the comments below. If you have like this, please hit the like and subscribe button. I try and put videos out like this at least once a week, or actually anytime I feel lonely and want to chat. There you go. Hug the one you love, my friends, and stay safe. Bye-bye.